me. Um, I asked you guys over on Instagram a while ago if you wanted me to read Pride and Prejudice to you, like live on YouTube, and you said you did. So here I am testing it out for the first time. I've never done this before, so that's both exciting and kind of scary. So I'm going to be reading from this copy of Pride and Prejudice. I got it at Barnes & Noble. I think it's super pretty. So did I buy it specifically for reading it to you? Yes. Yes, I did. Oh, hi, somebody. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat because that's important. Okay, so we're going to be starting with reading Pride and Prejudice, Chapter 1. It says, "It is a truth universally acknowledged. Possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighborhood, this truth surrounding families, that he is considered the rightful property of some one or other of their daughters. My dear Mr. Bennet, said his lady to him one day, have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last? Mr. Bennet replied that he had not. But it is, returned she, for Mrs. Long has just been here, and she told me all about it. Mr. Answer. Do you not want to know who has taken it? Cried his wife impatiently. Well, you want to tell me, and I have no objection to hearing it. This was invitation enough. Why, my dear, you must know. Mrs. Long says that Netherfield is taken by a young man of large fortune from the north of England, that he came down on Monday in a chaise and four to see the place, with it, that he agreed with Mr. Morris immediately that he is to take possession before Michaelmas, and some of his servants are to be in the house by the end of next week. I have to turn the page. Can you guys hear me? That's like my big anxiety right now. I'm like, what if my volume is like not good? What is his name? Bingley. Is he married or single? Oh, single, my dear, to be sure. A single man of large fortune. 4,000 or 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls. How so? How can it affect them? My dear Mr. Bennet, replied his wife, how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I am thinking of his marrying one of them. Is that his design in settling here? Design? Nonsense! How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes. I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which perhaps will be still better, for as you are as handsome as any of them, Mr. Bingley may like you the best of the party. My dear, you flatter me. I certainly have had my share of beauty, but I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her own beauty. In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty to think of. But, my dear, you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley when he comes into the neighborhood. It is more than I engage for, I assure you. But consider your daughters. Only think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas are determined to go merely on that account, for, in general, you know they visit no newcomers. Indeed, you must go, for it will be impossible for us to visit him if you do not. You are over-scrupulous, surely. I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines by you to assure him of my hearty consent to his marrying whichever he chooses of the girls, though I must throw in a good word for my little Lizzie. I desire you will do no such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I'm sure she's not half so handsome as Jane, nor half so good-humoured as Lydia, but you are always giving her the preference. They have none of them much to recommend them, replied he. They are all silly and ignorant like other girls, but Lizzie has something more of quickness than her sisters. Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such a way? You take delight in vexing me. You have no compassion on my poor nerves. You mistake me, my dear. I have a high respect for your nerves. They are my old friends. I have heard you mention them with consideration these 20 years, at least. Ah, you do not know what I suffer. But I hope you will get over it, and live to see many young men of 4,000 a year come into the neighborhood. It will be no use to us if 20 such should come, since you will not visit them. Depend upon it, my dear, that when there are 20, I will visit them all. Mr. Bennet was so odd a mixture of quick parts, sarcastic humor, reserve, and caprice that the experience of 23 years had been insufficient to make his wife understand his character. Her mind was less difficult to develop. She was a woman of mean understanding, little information, and uncertain temper. When she fancied herself nervous. The business of her life was to get her daughters married. Its solace was visiting and news. So that was chapter 1. Wow, there's like actually people here. Hi, guys. Aw, thank you. What? Aw. Wow. I was like so worried that like it was going to be too... I never know how to say your name. Is it Pakraj or Roy? Can I just call you Roy because I'm like not capable of pronouncing things? Too late where he lives to be able to like watch. Oh, hi everybody. Thank you. So you guys said on Instagram that you wanted me to read Pride and Prejudice to you, which is why I'm doing that right now. So I'm going to also like archive these videos on my channel so that you guys can watch them back later if you like miss a chapters, like one a week at least. Anyway, also, thank you for my accent compliment. It's just what comes out when I'm reading Pride and Prejudice. Like I can't stop it, so hopefully it's not distracting to anyone. Aw. Okay, so another thing I was thinking too is that if you guys like wanted to be in the commenting on these videos, kind of like treating it like what you think of the chapter and then discuss the chapters with other people and just generally love Pride and Prejudice together. That's like my little vision. Don't worry, Vera, it will be archived on my channel so you can watch it back. Yeah, so do you guys have any questions? Have you read the book? I don't even know. That is a good question. I think it's countless at this point. But yeah, and so I also just wanted to shout out some of the resources I have for chapter 1, which I have this whole long form video on like why did Jane Austen write about romance, where I talk about the relationship development she did between Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Bennet from the very first chapter. We get such a clear sense of not only their own to each other. And so that's a great video. I think it's called Why Did Jane Austen Write About Write About Romance. Obviously, she wrote about Pride and Prejudice. And then also, I just think it's very interesting too how we see from the first chapter Jane Austen's preoccupation not only just with human nature on an individual level, like with Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, but the very first opening line is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged," right? She's looking at society as a whole. And I think it just really came from Jane Austen's preoccupation with human nature at all the different levels. And we see that throughout her books. And yeah, that's my random thought for today. Oh, my favorite screen adaptation of the novel. I'm like so boring. I love Pride and Prejudice 1995, though I also love 2005, which is just so gorgeous and so pretty. But yeah. What do you think about Mrs. Bennet? Mrs. Bennet is a fascinating character. I do think that people are really hard on her, but I also honestly think that Jane Austen was really hard on her. Jane Austen had a little bit of a critical streak in her personality, and we see it come up against characters like Mrs. Bennet, for sure. Aw, thank you. You're universally awesome, too. Which character is my favorite? I don't know. They're all too incredibly awesome. That's the problem here. I think that, like, I really love Elizabeth in this story, and of course, Mr. Darcy. I'm just proving myself incredibly boring here. Always choosing, like, the most cliched thing on the planet. Aw. Okay, so anyway, that was my big plan. I'm just gonna, like, read a chapter. So to keep this, like, really simple and, like, little bites, but yeah. thank you. Definitely try to tune in again for chapter 2. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for watching.